Imagine a world bathed in dogma, where questioning the divine wasn't just frowned upon, it was unthinkable. Now, imagine a man in that world, blind since childhood, who dared to see more clearly than anyone around him. This is the forgotten story of Abul Ala Al-Ma'arri, an 11th century poet, a philosopher, and a radical skeptic whose words could have been written yesterday. He rejected revelation, mocked sacred texts, and preached a philosophy of reason and compassion. But why are his ancient, remarkably modern beliefs more relevant than ever in our own complex, divided world? Born in 973 in Ma'arat al-Numan, Syria, Al-Mahari's life was forged in shadow. At just 4 years old, a devastating case of smallpox stole his sight. But this physical darkness seems to have ignited an incredible inner light. Losing his sight didn't limit him. It focused him. He developed a prodigious memory and an insatiable appetite for knowledge. He lived in a fascinating time. The 11th century Islamic world was an intellectual hothouse. While religious orthodoxy was strong, cities like Aleppo and Baghdad were buzzing with Greek philosophy, science, and fierce debate. This ferment, paradoxically, gave him the tools to question the very foundations of his society. After studying abroad, he gained fame as a brilliant poet. This success gave him a crucial advantage: intellectual freedom. He eventually returned to his hometown, adopting a simple life. He became a prisoner of two dungeons, his blindness and his home, which allowed him to write his most radical, unconventional ideas without fear of patrons or politics. And those ideas were incendiary. Al-Mahari didn't just nibble at the edges of faith, he took a sledgehammer to its pillars. He was scathing in his critique of all organized religions. He famously wrote, "The inhabitants of the earth are of two sorts, those with brains, but no religion, and those with religion, but no brains." He saw religious leaders as exploiting the gullible, and divine revelation as nothing more than a traffic which men conduct. He dismissed the stories of prophets, miracles, and the afterlife as a fable, invented by the ancients, useful only for controlling the masses. His philosophy was built on earthly compassion, not divine command. This led him to radical conclusions. He was a committed vegan, arguing that it was a profound injustice to harm animals for food, milk, or even honey. This wasn't for religious purity, it was a rational conclusion based on empathy. He also practiced asceticism and never married. He believed it was wrong to bring another life into a world so full of suffering. His worldview was pessimistic, yes, but it was also profoundly humanistic. He believed our only duty was to be decent to each other, right here, right now, guided only by reason. So, how did the world react to a man 1,000 years ahead of his time? It was complicated. His literary skill was so immense that he couldn't be easily dismissed. People admired his poetry even as they were horrified by his ideas. His most radical works, like the Epistle of Forgiveness, a satirical journey through heaven, and hell that some scholars say influenced Dante's Divine Comedy, were often read as mere literary exercises, their heretical bite softened. After his death, his legacy was often suppressed. And yet, his ideas echoed. They trickled down through the centuries, influencing later skeptics and free thinkers. When you compare Al-Mahari's rationalism to the European Enlightenment, which came 700 years later, the parallels are astonishing. His reliance on empirical reason and his call for intellectual freedom prefigure thinkers we credit with inventing the modern age. This brings us back to our world. A world still plagued by dogmatism, fake news, and us versus them thinking. Al-Mahari's fearless embrace of doubt is a powerful antidote. He teaches us that it's okay to question, that critical thinking isn't an attack on morality, but the very foundation of it. His call for a universal humanism, one that extends compassion not just to other humans but to all living creatures, feels more urgent than ever. He proved that you don't need a divine mandate to be good. All you need is reason and empathy. So what can a blind poet from 1,000 years ago teach us about seeing clearly in the 21st century? Perhaps he teaches us to close our eyes to the blinding dogma of our own times and to finally open our minds. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the mind of Al-Mahari illuminating, Be sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which forgotten thinker we should explore next.